So it was 10.
I'll call this meeting of the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors to order. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Hall. Here. Leyland.
Here.
Little.
Here.
Trelka. Schwartz.
Here. Please join us for a moment of silence to reflect on today's actions. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First, entertain a motion on the agenda as received or proposed or amended.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. Next, we'll move on to public comments. I don't see anybody in the room. Anybody on Zoom wishes to make a public comment? Or anybody in the room, I guess? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to claims and payments. This is a resolution that the Board of Supervisors approve expenditures and that the county auditor be authorized and directed to issue payments against the various settlement of such claims as allowed.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Ms. Weeder?
Good morning, Board. Our total bill payment today is $800,559.89. That's a bit lower than the printout that was sent out on Friday because we removed the software that was being paid for out of the 60/40 fund to discuss how to pay for that. And so the adjusted amount to be paid from the 60/40 fund is $3,805.32. We do have a few larger payments this week. Emergency Management is purchasing a Chevy Tahoe vehicle for $49,905.20. Let's see. That's turned off. And we're making a large payment to Modis for the HVAC design on the HVAC improvements capital project, and that amount is $131,422.50. And I believe that's all the kind of large and unusual ones. Everything appears to be in order. Any questions?
Any questions, Board? Hearing none, roll call, please. Mr. Jameson.
Hall. Yes. Leyland.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, resolution is approved. Item 4, we will receive project updates from department heads and elected officials.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, engineer. This morning, the blades are out due to the fact that we do have some moisture. We will probably be blading through numerous dust controls that, of course, the public pays for these dust controls themselves privately. But that is the condition of the permit. I know it's very dusty, and if we don't get more rain, it will continue to be dusty, but we need to get the roads bladed so that they're in better shape for the winter before the ground freezes. I'm just letting you know that because we do have some people, some residents who would like to keep their dust control, in fact, get more dust control, but we are stopping any more dust control being applied for the rest of the year now. In the road department, we're also working on naming the snowplow contest. We're working with our social media specialist on that. We've decided we would like to choose 3 snowplows and have a contest open to the public, residents, drivers in Blackhawk County, etc. You do see this in other states. In particular, Minnesota DOT has done this for the past few years and gotten a fairly good response from the residents of Minnesota. We are working with Gabby. We would like to have a prize, possibly working with some other county department with this prize. Is this something that you would like to approve? I can put it on a future agenda, if so.
I don't know if we need to approve. I think it's great. I'd like to suggest Mr. Plow for anybody that's a fan of the Simpsons, but I don't think it needs board approval.
Yeah. It's fine.
Any other thoughts, board?
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
No.
Excuse me. We will keep you updated through social media, and also we will announce the winners. We're thinking probably in December, but we'll let you know when our rules have been finalized. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board. Mike Hendrickson, Director of Blackhawk County Conservation. I wanted to take just a couple of minutes this morning to sort of, for lack of better terms, kick off our public awareness of a timber stand improvement project that we will be going forward with this winter. And you may ask, well, why are you coming to us with that? We do that kind of work every year, and we do. We're doing some kind of timber stand improvement every winter somewhere in the 6,000 acres of timbers that we take care of. But we're going to be working in Blackhawk Park. Therefore, it is a very high profile area. It's a project, it's not an extremely large project, but it's a project large enough that our staff can't undertake that. So we have bid that out, and our Conservation Board at our October board meeting did approve a bid on the byproduct from that work. We did this work, we did a section of very similar work in 2010, the winter of 2009, 2010. There were a lot of public comments about that and different things like that, so I felt like we wanted to get ahead of it right now because we want this to be as educational as it can possibly be. The sections of the timber in Blackhawk Park that we're going to be working on are ready for this. It's time for it to go, and you need to understand that this is not just a helter-skelter. We decided to go out there and grab this piece of timber and do this work. We have stand mapped nearly every acre of forest that Blackhawk County owns or manages. And so we do have all these on a timetable and a schedule as to when certain amounts of work need to be done. Sometimes it's small amounts that our staff takes care of. Sometimes we get it to the point where it's bigger than us, like this, and we want to get this done. It's time for it to get done. It needs to get done. So I won't get into a whole lot more details. At 1 o'clock today, or just after lunch today, Maria has agreed to come out to Blackhawk Park. We're going to take her on a tour. Gabby's going to be there too. And we are going to get a great article from Maria in the Courier with all the details that I won't bore you with today. And again, we want this to be a very, very educational thing. But to just generally let you know what this will encompass, it will be 175 trees that will be removed from the forested areas in Blackhawk Park. About 1/3 of those trees are dead ash trees that need to be removed. About 1/3 of those will be walnut trees, and the other 1/3 will be hackberry, box elder, different trees like that need to be out of there. And our main goal is to open that canopy up, let that sunlight in, and start the next generation of trees. And I'll leave you with this. One of the comments that we got back in 2009, 2010 from the public were there was nothing wrong with those forests. They were healthy and they were beautiful. And our answer then is what our answer will be now when we do it this winter. They're that way because of the management practices that we've been doing for the last 50 to 60 years. And if we stop doing that, there will be a day 30 years from now when people will stand there and go, what were those people doing 30 years ago? We don't want to be associated with that. This is the right thing to do, and it will work out great. So anyway, any questions at all?
I don't think so. Oh, thanks for being here today.
No pressure, Maria. Hey, Mike. Mike, I did just want to add, I think I understand that there was some scuttlebutt 15 years ago. I do think that you all at Conservation have demonstrated a willingness to engage the public in a way that my hope is that we don't have the same sort of scuttlebutt, maybe a deeper understanding about best practices, and you guys are doing a hell of a job. So
we do understand that everybody has an opinion. That's wonderful. We just hope that they'll give us an opportunity to let us tell our story, and that's why we're going to work with Gabby and Maria, and we're going to tell our story.
awesome.
Yeah, and Mike, it'll be so much nicer when it's done and they see it. It's just, it's unfortunate, that you have to do that kind of education, but it's so worthwhile.
Yep, and I should add, I guess, what we did in 2009, 2010 is just a classic example of what this project, what we intend for it to be. We were in an area where there should have been oak and walnut regeneration, but there was none. We could find no little oaks and walnuts in there. Should have been there. There were a few old oak trees and old walnut trees that should have been seeding those areas. They weren't coming because of the high density of cottonwood trees, hackberry trees that completely shaded it out. The work that we did then and the trees that were removed then, you can walk in there now and there are literally thousands of oaks and walnuts that are over your head. It's just incredible what these practices do. And so we have an area that we can take people and show them what the results will be. So that's helpful too. So.
Very good. Thank you. All right. Any other department heads, elected officials wish to provide an update? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to the minutes approved from the October 15th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Minutes are approved. There will be a hearing coming up a little bit later in the meeting on the proposed purchase of steel for Project L-3017 Mount Vernon Road Bridge. Next, we will approve the consent agenda. This will be approved with a single resolution.
So moved.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please, Mr. Jameson.
Leyland,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes, the resolution is approved. Next, we'll move on to item 8, contracts and agreements. This is a resolution that the agreement to provide $200,000 utilizing American Rescue Plan Act funds to the city of Gilbertville for its emergency management building project previously approved on September 12th, 2023, be acknowledged and direct the chair to sign for the same.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, questions?
I had several questions, and I apologize that, like I said, that I wanted to get these to Michelle and everyone yesterday, and had left some on my desk and not getting in yesterday. I didn't know that I wanted to actually take everyone's time to go over some of those. But my primary one was I know we mentioned in the resolution we're utilizing the American Rescue Plan Act funds, but I just thought perhaps we needed also to be very clear in the contract or agreement, whichever we're calling it, that we are also using American Rescue Plan Act funds. I know the board had quite a bit of discussion on it when we did it, and it was unanimous at the time that we did go forward with utilizing up to $200,000. But there was just some mentioning of things like that, as well as I think just clarification even for my own self on what certifying funds and things like that would be before we, pay out our funds. And I wasn't sure what some of those things were, so I apologize for that, but don't want to delay it if it's something we need to get moving forward on. Just
Supervisor Leyland,
Yes.
if I may respond to that point. So when we prepared the proposed agreement, I did not put in that American Rescue Plan Act funds were used. And the reason why is because this was a replacement revenue project. So technically, those funds were already used for salary and benefits for the county. And I didn't want to create confusion in the contract that would suggest that this project had to comply with this or that condition of the American Rescue Plan Act. That is why ARPA was not mentioned in it. Now, that could be changed, and then I would be careful to put in that it is replacement revenue if we do that, just because, again, I don't want it read somewhere down the road by an auditor saying, oh, well, did you comply with this, and this, when in fact we didn't, because we're not going to have, for example, compliance reporting and things like that from the city of Gilbertville under this agreement. And what we're going to do is make sure that they've given us invoices for the work having been done before the money is paid.
I understand that, Mike. I think it was just for the very reason you're speaking of, because we were so clear that we were utilizing ARPA funding, and I just think it should somewhat be designated in the contract agreement, even if it needs to be lost revenue, but that we were utilizing that program really when we made the decision.
You bet. That can be done. That can be done.
Okay.
And that was why, like I said, some of the others were smaller, questions, but I thought too, and not to take everyone's time, but I didn't know if the board would rather go ahead and approve those or just wait another week. I know I haven't received anything from anyone on. Michelle, you mentioned some kind of communication that you thought there was urgent or an emergency or.
Well, yeah, I did get an email from the city clerk saying they need it because USDA has to be the last dollars in. But then I did ask, for documentation of what they've paid so far, and I don't think they've used up all their sources yet, so I'm a little confused. I'm still trying to get I have a budget. I don't have what the actual contracts have been yet for it. I'm still trying to get all that data. But, yeah.
So, what I guess I'm asking, the board members, what's the pleasure of the board? I don't want to take your time and go through some of these small minor things if you're willing to wait, but if you'd rather my questions today, I certainly can. So what's
your questions, Linda? I mean, might as well throw it out there.
Well, and like I said, some of them were just really kind of clarification, I guess, in the contract, and that would be a Mike and Michelle thing, and I'd copy the board is why I was just saying they'd be that. I remember that we were supposed to be last money into this project. I think that was like Scott Becker's comment, that our money would be the last in. So I guess it was just kind of, when we have in here as responsibilities, it's certifying to the county when all funds necessary to complete the construction of the project have been secured. And I was going to say, not sure what that means or if that's just a typical thing that when we say certifying, what that is. And have we received a sources and uses document? But I know we can do that before we issue funding or issue the funds. That's not a problem. It was just, did anybody else, I guess, have questions or anything about the contract?
Well, didn't we get a correspondence from the mayor not that long ago that's saying they probably wouldn't need the 200,000? They were right around the 150,000.
Oh, I don't recall that, but maybe
because of the project come in under cost or something.
I don't know.
I don't think
I
that.
can't
I don't
talk
recall
that.
that.
But we're only going to issue monies when they issue an invoice of work being performed. Is that correct?
That's correct. But your previous agenda motion said we would approve up to 200,000 depending on their actual contracts. So I think we need an update on those actual as well. Yeah, I had not heard about only needing the 150. That's the first I've heard that.
Michelle, did they tell us or did we tell them that they had to spend their resources first before they could actually get the county or?
We did. I remember that we did at the meeting, and Mr. Becker mentioned that we would be last money in, and
Okay.
that's one of the things, the questions I see in the responsibilities. It was like it says Gilbertville shall secure all funding necessary to complete construction of project facilities prior to payment of the county funds, and so I was just kind of going back and forth whether we needed to resolve some of this while the contract is being discussed or not surprise everybody later when it's like, well, this is what the contract says and you haven't abided by these rules or something. That's all.
Well, it sounds like Michelle needs to get back with them and kind of clarify their initial request that she received here a week or two ago.
Okay.
And kind of explain to them the procedure. Maybe they're not aware of the procedure or I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if I'm fine with waiting a week and like I said, not taking more of everyone's time, but it's, I say without more comment, I guess, on that it's really needed. It sounds, Michelle, like you're saying it's not really needed like you thought this week anyway.
Well,
Is that
if
correct?
it is, I have not seen documentation of it. Let me phrase it that way. The information that's provided to me at this point doesn't appear to indicate that on the surface.
So we can actually wait then until you receive what you need.
I think so. I think their next council meeting isn't until November 4th, so I don't think they're going to sign a contract prior to November 4th.
So why don't you, in the meantime, then make contact with the city clerk
I will.
and kind of clarify her earlier request, what actually she's after.
I will do that.
So I think as long as we try to wrap it up on our, I know that we're waiting on them, but within a week so that it's ready in time for their council meeting.
Well, I would hope so, but
Yeah.
I keep sending requests. We'll
Yeah.
just have to wait and see what we get.
Yeah.
But yes, I will try to get that done.
Okay. And I'll send out, like I say, an email to the board if there were other questions I had, just so we all see them. But
Yeah.
then we'll just hope to table it a week at least, and unless Michelle doesn't hear back from them. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do we need we
Okay.
do have a motion on the floor. Do we need to instead do a motion to table or?
Either, yeah, I would suggest a motion to table.
Okay.
I'll move to the table for 1
Second.
week.
All right, I'll second. All those in favor of tabling this item for 1 week, say aye.
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 I,
All those opposed, the motion is tabled. We move on to other business. This is a motion that the personnel requisition for executive administrative aide full-time in the sheriff's office with a start date of November 24th, 2024, to allow for proper training and be approved as recommended by Nate Neff, jail administrator.
So moved.
Second, Nate?
Good morning, Board. Nate Neff, Jail Administrator. So, just a couple weeks ago, you recognized Lori Denning for 35 years here at the Sheriff's Office, or with the county, and she's decided 35 is enough, apparently. So at the end of the year, she will be resigning. I'd like to get her replacement in there early, because obviously she and Sheriff Thompson are the two that are the most familiar with the budget, with New World, with everything. With both of them leaving December 31st, the more advanced training we can get with this next person, the better we'll be. I think, talking to Michelle, we've got some shortage in our salary and benefits, so we should be able to double up with them, with the new person for that month before she goes.
I always support the overlapping of experienced staff with new staff for training purposes. Any questions, board? Hearing none, this is a motion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is approved. Item 2, this is a motion that the reappointment of Dr. Disa Cornish to the Blackhawk County Board of Health for a 3-year term be approved effective January 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I'll just say, as the board liaison, Dr. Cornish has definitely been a great asset and brings a lot of knowledge to the Board of Health. I appreciate her service. Any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
All those opposed, motion carries. It is now 9:23, and this is hearing/bid opening for the proposed purchase of steel for project L-3017 Mount Vernon Road. First is a motion to receive and place in file proof of publication, notice of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 I,
All those opposed, motion carries. Next is a motion to close the hearing after oral and written comments are received.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Any written comments, Mr. Jameson?
No, sir.
All right. Any oral comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of closing the hearing, say aye.
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 All right. All opposed. The hearing is closed. Next is bids to be received, open and read. The deadline was 3 p.m. Monday, October 21st, 2024.
Kathy, did they all meet the deadline?
Yes, they were all received by 3 p.m. yesterday. The first bid is from Odin Enterprises Incorporated, Wahoo, Nebraska. Okay. There is no bid bond required for this bid. Their bid is $16,068.88. 16,068.88. The second bid received is from O'Brien Steel, Peoria, Illinois. Their bid is $13,078.40. 13,078.40.
All right, thank you. Next is a motion that the Board of Supervisors review and place on file the bids and allow time to review said bids as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion is approved. Next, any reports or information from the board? I'll next entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.